What's up, guys? I'm Elijah Vigo.
I'm Michael Kanalakis, and welcome back to episode 7 of the New Era Jets podcast. Today we are going to be focusing on first the tragedy of Kyron Lacy's death, and then we're going to jump into some Jet related news on the bright side. But first, we just want to say prayers up to Kyron Lacy's family. Very very bad situation. Just gone too soon. But I know there was some stuff going on that happened recently with the whole car wreck, but I'm not going to speak on that because I don't really know too much about it, and I know court was coming up I think tomorrow, so it's a whole different situation to me. It still doesn't change the fact that 24-year-old man, from the reports took his own life, so just a very sad situation. So prayers up to him and his family.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate. Like you said about the car wreck thing, that's definitely played a huge role into like what happened. I mean, it's unfortunate. He was really young. He was a potential first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with all that happening, I don't know if he'll fall into the first round, but he was definitely going to get drafted. Just it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Just prayers up to the family, and may he rest in peace.
Exactly. Just very tough. I mean, we've seen, not going to speak too much on like the incidents and stuff, but we have seen like it's not like all these pro athletes are perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of pro athletes have gone through stuff like this in their careers, and they've been given that second chance and were able to turn around. And I know, like throughout Lacy's career, a lot of coaches spoke on how he focused a lot on trying to like fix his mental state, like fix the emotional aspect of not like letting the emotions get to him during the game. So I know he was working on that. So it's just a very, very sad, incident. Like I said, prayers up to him and the whole family.
Yeah, prayers up. May he rest in peace. Now going to the episode, we're going to talk about Lazard restructured his contract.
Mm-hmm.
With our wide receiver core right now, that's probably the best move could have gone. Even though he has struggled in the drops. We all know that, Jets fans. But like, if you look last season, he had some pretty big plays. Like the first, I would say about 6-7 weeks, he was playing really good.
The first like half of the season, he looked very promising. It's just that second half he kind of dropped off. But I mean, how do you feel about it? I personally love bringing him back. Like you said, I think it fits the receiver room, and I think no matter what rookies we were to draft, I think bringing him back definitely adds structure to the receiver room. But what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's a really good even though, like I said, he has struggled a lot, but he actually took a really huge pay cut. I believe it was about 8-something million, and now going to next year he's only 1 point something, like 1.5 million is guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
So he definitely sees like the potential in this team. Like it looked like he wants it because like most people wouldn't like restructure the contract.
Yeah, exactly. Especially at the point of career he's at.
Yeah, I think this offseason is going to get better. Like honestly, he's a good wide receiver. Like he's good at blocking. He's considered like a top 3 blocking receiver, I'm pretty sure.
His blocking right now was probably the best attribute of his game.
Yeah. Because he's a big dude, and just honestly go into the offseason, just work on his hands. That's all he has.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe a little route running too, because he has they weren't bad, but like
his route running's not. I'm not gonna say it's the sharpest, but I would say, like you said, his in terms of being huge in the run game, I think he is one of the best blocking receivers in the game. But my kind of hope going into next season too is the fact that obviously we don't have Devontae Adams anymore. So if you really look at it, like, yeah, Garrett Wilson is our best receiver by far. But if you want to talk about like veteran aspect, Lazard's got the most experience out of that receiver room. So I kind of hope now that Devontae's gone, Lazard kind of changes his role where it's like, now he's going to maybe try to change into this mentor, leader type of guy for the Jets whole team, but especially that receiver room. And maybe that aspect of trying to become a leader himself can maybe, push him over to that next step of his game. And that's kind of my hope with his. I know a lot of Jet fans are concerned about his hands, and they were saying, like, at this point in his career, he's not going to fix the drops, which, I could see both sides of the argument, but as a Jet fan, I'm obviously going to hope for the best for him and the team. So I'm really hoping he can figure it out. But I think it was a great move bringing him back. I mean, taking an $8.5 million contract, you rarely see that in the NFL today. Like, a lot of these dudes are just so money-oriented that, if you get a dude who really takes a pay cut for your team, that does show he wants to be there. So I love the move personally.
Yeah. From taking that pay cut, I believe we're going to still like go early and draft wide receiver for sure. Probably 100%. Day 2. So most likely he'll be our 3, maybe 2 in some games.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
But I think he fits that perfectly. I mean, I think he's going into the season if he were like, because I know there's still some people saying he could get traded on draft night, which I could say maybe is still a possibility, but I don't want that to be. because I just think at this point we might as well keep him. But him being that, low end receiver 2, high end receiver 3, I think puts us in a great chance going into the draft.
Yeah, especially when we just restructured his contract. I don't think they're going to just trade him like that. Like, he just basically took money from him. Like, but that's all I got to say about Lazard. I mean, it was a good move in my opinion. Just like, right now our wide receiver core is Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, Josh Reynolds, Tyler Johnson, Xavier Gibson, and Herb Charles. And he's not even he's like a wide receiver, 6, 7.
Yeah,
he's a special teamer. Like,
I think the way I could see it is, I think too.
Owen Corley too. Why did I forget him?
Oh, Malachi Corley.
I forgot. Oh, forgot.
Yeah, I hope Engstrom uses Corley in the offense, right? But I think one of my things I've been seeing is if you watch the way Josh Reynolds plays, it's not obviously very close to Lazard, but I'm hoping that having a guy like Lazard in the same room as Josh Reynolds can either bring the most out of Lazard or bring the most out of Reynolds. Because then we're looking at people want to Reynolds went through that whole situation where he got shot in the head, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so no, it was his arm too. No, I think it was the back of his head.
Yeah, I think it went through something with he got shot at some point. So obviously that's a very traumatic thing to come back from. So yeah, his stats have been down recently, but if he could get back to that type of spot, or Lazard can, and you already have Garrett, and we're probably going to draft someone like you said, round 2 or 3, I think our receiver room's looking a lot better than we were maybe 2 months ago. I was a little concerned about what we were doing in free agency, but those picks like Reynolds and Tyler Johnson could actually turn out to something.
Yeah, they both have really good hands too. Reynolds, he only had a few drops, and he has a lot of experience with Engstrand in Detroit. So with all that experience, it can really help. But other than that, I like it. Now, with Justin Fields and Brandon Stevens, their first press conference, they talked about why Fields chose the Jets, and the first answer was Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, exactly.
Aaron Glenn, baby.
They see the vision.
Yeah, he's seen Aaron Glenn, what type of coach he is. He's a lot of discipline, and even though he's a more of a defensive coach, he understands the offense just as much as defense. And just the person he is, he's a perfect coach in my opinion for Jets.
Oh yeah, I think
there could have been any other one.
You've probably seen the articles, but I know they've been talking about how the last couple of years, even though he was the defensive coordinator, he's came out and said he wanted to, he's been focusing more on looking at the offensive side of the game because he doesn't want to be known as a defensive coach. He wants to be known as a coach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he wants to have that experience. So I think it's a good test for him for sure because obviously when the season gets going, we'll obviously come back and revisit this and see if we were right or not. But I saw with Stevens too, which we talked about in I think our coaching staff episode about how we love the DB room in terms of coaching with Harris and Bly. Stevens said that was one of the main reasons he came to the Jets. 12 mil a year after having a down year is obviously very nice. So the money played a role, but looking at those coaches we brought into the DB room, I think that actually did bring him in a little bit too. So I was happy with those two. I was happy with his answer, and I really hope those two could turn Stevens around from that down year, and I think they definitely will.
They can for sure. Dre Bly is a former All-Pro corner. Harris, I don't know too much about him. I'm pretty sure he played how many years in the NFL? 6, 7.
Yeah, I think he played for a solid amount.
Yeah, and he was a solid corner, and Aaron Glenn too. I'm surprised they haven't retired his. Actually, he was good at Jets, but I don't know if they would retire his jersey yet.
I don't know,
but he should be in Ring of Honor for sure, though, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I think he'll get there for sure.
Yeah, because he was also a kick returner, punt returner too. Basically, he was the main person on defense back in the '90s, and just him now being the coach of the Jets means a lot. And I can just imagine him taking us to the playoffs and the AFC Championship game. Like he said, to this day, he still remembers the 1998 Jets versus Broncos AFC Championship.
Broncos game.
He still remembers it to this day, and he wants to get back. So
it would be a textbook story if we get back and it's against the Broncos too.
I mean, they are doing pretty good, but I don't know if they're they had a good free agency.
No, yeah, they had a good, especially after last season with Bo Nix, and they had a good free agency. They could be one of the sleeper teams out of the AFC. So that would be a really good story to write.
Yeah, there's also a bunch of other good AFC teams that they gotta worry about. So we gotta see. First we gotta see too. We can't just be we're going to Super Bowl the last 2 years.
We gotta at least get the idea of a winning season in the way. You know what I'm saying?
Get into the wild card at least and see how we do.
Yeah, build off that. But it's just, I mean, at this point, we got to take everything in building stones. You know what I'm saying? First
Yeah,
steps, obviously, the draft. Then we go to the workouts, and then we go into the season.
yeah,
Speaking of
because
the draft, I know we've had a lot of visits set up so far. So I'm not going to go through all of them, just to, obviously for a time matter. But I was going to ask, like, for me personally, my favorite ones we've had so far. I mean, everyone obviously wants to say like the Tyler Warrens and all that, but I love Michael Williams out of Georgia, their edge. I think he could be really good. And then Kyle Williams, the receiver out of Washington State. If we could somehow pick up one of those two, at they're both gone within the first round. Maybe even if one of them were to drop to the second round, it would still be kind of crazy to me. But if we could somehow score one of them, that would be a huge win in my book. And those are two dudes I've been watching a lot of their highlights, and I think they would fit great with our coaching staff. So not like they're obviously not the biggest names in the draft, but those are two where it's like if we could somehow pick up one of them, I think that would be a really big win in the Jets book. How about you?
first, like I said, I only seen the article. Right now, the Jets are just looking like they're building team around field basically. Like first, they gotta get they need weapons, obviously,
Exactly.
but also like they need good. Their run game has to get better. And I mean, first he got Olu Fashanu. He did a pretty good. I'm pretty sure he did good in the run game, right? And he
Yeah,
was a good pass
he did
protector.
pretty good.
Yeah, he's our starting left tackle. And then we got John Simpson. He had a really good year in the run game too. Titman actually he also had a pretty good year too.
Pittman
And
was one of like the best. I think he was one of
centers.
the best linemen in the NFL in the run game. Like
I
based
think he
off
was top
grade.
5.
Yeah, based off grade.
Yeah. And then Vera Tucker, this is his first healthy season since his rookie year, and he missed like 2 games, but he did really good this season.
You know that
And
those
right
four
now-
had a great year together.
Yeah, and just all we need is a right tackle. And honestly, if we were to get Armin Membu out of Missouri, our offensive line could be top 5.
Oh,
Easily.
yeah, that's not even crazy
No
to
doubt.
say. I mean, I think as a Jet fan, we're all happy. Like, yeah, there was the whole controversy about if we should have took Brock Bowers or take Olu, but we took Olu, and I think the fact that Olu got that experience last year is going to be so beneficial for his career, and especially this year, I could see him having another great year. Like he's shown, flashes last year, but yeah, it's one of those rookie linemen where there were a couple plays where he might have been off by a step or two, ended up resulting in a sack or something. But I think he had a great year. And I think building into this year, if we could get someone, very strong off the right side, which, if we do take Arbonne out of 7, I mean, that is one of
Perfect.
the best. If you look at it off paper after the year we just had last year, you could say right away that's a top 7 O-line in the NFL, just off paper.
For sure. Like Olu, he only allowed a single sack all last year, and he went against when did he? I'm trying to remember what game he officially started at left tackle.
It
'Cause I
wasn't
know
until
he did a little right tackle for like a few games.
it wasn't until
Was it okay? Let me think. So I remember Tyron Smith. He got hurt after no, it wasn't Houston.
wasn't it around week 6
What was week 6?
when Tyron? It was after Tyron Smith got hurt.
I'm trying to remember. So Tyron Smith, I know he played the Houston game. I was there.
Yeah, he played in the Houston game.
And what was it the Cardinals after that game? Or was it the Colts?
After the Houston game?
Well, it was Arizona, right?
Yeah, I think it was the Cardinals.
Yeah. Then I believe that's the game he got hurt or something. Or some people say he got benched.
Yeah, I remember the whole thing. Remember that was when the whole article came out about Woody apparently benching players, which don't even get me started on that. But yeah, that was around that time.
Yeah, so I believe it was a Colts game. He officially started left tackle on him ever since. He started rest of the year until he got hurt against the Rams. And he went against a lot of good edge rushers. The first one that comes to my mind is the rookie from the Colts last year, Latu, I think that's his name.
Oh yeah.
And then after that season, after that week, we had a bye week. Then it was Seattle. So I believe he went against Leonard Williams a lot too.
Yeah,
And
Leonard Williams is still. I mean, as you
and
say,
he was killing us
Yeah.
that game.
he had a great game against us, which makes sense. But
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, the whole experience. I mean, if you look at especially these linemen that come into the NFL, like especially as rookies, getting that experience early on is huge. I mean, just any player, it's the idea of the experience helps a lot. But like you said, he did go against some high end, edge rushers, D linemen. So I think it's very beneficial for him, but more beneficial for the team too. You know what I'm saying? Because now I look at him right away and I'm like, that's our franchise left tackle in my opinion. Like, yeah, he still has to go out these next couple years and earn it, but just based off that first year, he showed a lot of upside and a lot of promise. Like you said, only giving up 1 sack, that's very impressive. And so I mean, if we could pick up a solid one at right tackle, with this, even if it's the seventh pick or we wait to the second round, we could maybe get one in the third. But just pairing someone up on the opposite side, knowing that there's that comfort on the other side of the line, like that will help so much, especially with Justin Fields, the run game, opening RPOs. It's the idea of building blocks. It expands so much. It's not just the idea of the run game. It also opens up more to it in the offense, which with Engstrand, I think could be huge in his creativity and everything. If you open those other elements we haven't seen recently, with a quarterback like Rodgers, it was 90% if he drops back, it's going to be a pass. You know what I'm saying? Whereas someone like Fields, he could drop back and he could go give me 15, 20 rush yards. You know what I'm saying? So I think it will open so much more. But I'm still, as we get closer and closer to the draft, I still am not sure like who I want the Jets to take at 7. I mean, I know the article came out that I really think it's between Warren and Armand from Mizzou. Yeah. Like, I think it's really between those two. I feel like if we heard a name besides those two, it would kind of be a shock. But what do you think about the 7th pick, and who would you take?
I would take Membu because, like I said, I know I said Warren I believe it said Warren a few episodes ago. But now that I'm looking at it, like, the tight end class is, like, it's a lot. And just, like I said, we need a right tackle. And Glenn said himself that this upcoming season, he wants to like utilize all our running backs,
exactly,
and just a run game. And I know it started like a few Breece Hall rumors, but I just hope that he don't get traded. But I did see an article that said if Membu's not there at 7, they might trade to like the 10th or 11th pick.
Yeah, I did see that one yesterday too.
Because the teams in front of us aren't going to look for a tight end, so we could just go trade for the 10th and get like a few more picks. Mm-hmm. But from what it looks like, I don't think no one's going to take him because first is Tennessee, they're taking Cam Ward. Then it's
number 1's a lock.
Yeah, Cleveland. I honestly don't even know what they're gonna take.
Cleveland's up in the air because I personally think they're gonna take Travis Hunter. Yeah. But like it also, I mean, they do need help in the receiver room for sure. But like I just don't like the talent Abdul Carter has would blow my mind if he made it past like 2 or 3. Just like watching his clips, but it's like, would the Browns use the 2nd pick on that when you have someone like Travis Hunter there?
Yeah, maybe he can go to Cleveland. I see some rumors of the Giants taking Carter, even though like they do got Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau.
The Giants D line was not one of their defense last year was the better part of the team.
And who's after the Giants? Is it Patriots?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna actually. Honestly, they could get Travis Hunter maybe, or a wide receiver.
The one with Travis Hunter's hard because he could really like all those teams. They've shown interest in him, so it is kind of hard to pinpoint which one I think is going to take the snipe on him. But I don't know. I mean, if Armand's not there at 7, like the article I saw of us trading down, I don't think that's the worst idea.
That's a good idea because
what I'm saying. If we could pick up another pick out of that, I think that would actually be. If he's not there, obviously, like if he's there, I think we take our shot. It's just, so hard because it's like you look at someone like Tyler Warren, and it's like he obviously could add value in the run game because he is a pretty solid blocker, and he obviously was a great tight end. But it's like, it's that idea of like weighing out the pros and cons. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, I think. If you just take the balance of the idea of is it a deeper tackle class or is it a deeper tight end, I think we have more options at tight end than we do at tackle right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'm going back to what I said after Patriots is the Jaguars, and from what I seen, they're going to take Mason Graham out of Michigan.
I think that's Mason possible. Graham to the Jags is almost a lock.
And I might be wrong, but pick number 6 is I believe Carolina. I might be wrong.
I thought. Let me check.
It could be. Is it Carolina? Because who had the same record as us? Or maybe Chicago?
No, I think... Oh, wait. I thought the Bears were below us. No, the Raiders are 6.
Oh, Raiders.
Yeah, Panthers are right after us.
Oh, then they're going to take Genty for sure.
Yeah, Raiders... I think Genty to the Raiders should be a lock.
They need a running back.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you look at us, like... I think... for at least the players that we've been reported to want, I don't see, those guys really getting picked based off just who's off in front of us and the holes they have on their teams.
Yeah,
I mean, you could obviously the Raiders don't need a tight end.
Yeah, they
Cam
don't.
Ward, like we said, is a lock at 1. I don't think between the Browns, Giants, and Patriots, you're looking at Abdul Carter and you're looking at Travis Hunter. I think Mason Graham to the Jags is a lock. So it doesn't. There's not a lot of wiggle room there, for Warren or Armand to get taken swooped up. So I think as Jet fans, this was going to be one of those ones where I would be very shocked if we didn't get one of them. And I think as a Jet fan, if we took either one of them, that's a pick you should probably be happy with. You know what I'm saying? Now also depends how the rest of the draft is going to go, because if we take one, I would like to get the other taken probably the second, third round, because those are, in my opinion, those are the two of the biggest holes we have at tight end and right tackle. And then you could look at D-line, safety depth, all that. But I think that's huge to get one of them taken at 7, and it's like you build off that with that pick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. This upcoming draft, like I keep on saying this draft's got to be perfect. Like you got to get a lot of starters, bunch of weapons, and just we do need depth players too. But this draft class has got to be just like 2022. It's got to be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a lot on the new coaching staff, obviously, and Moogie. But I mean, that's the job you signed up for. You came into a team. We haven't made the playoffs in what is it now?
14.
15 years.
Actually, it could be 15.
15-year drought. I mean, in my lifetime, we've had 3 winning seasons. You're coming into New York's one of the most hostile media attention. All the media in New York, it's the biggest lights. So, you came into this situation, you got to be ready to deliver. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, one bad pick, they're gonna curse you out. So
yeah,
it's got to be perfect.
And especially if it's within the first 3 rounds, because like I said last episode, those first 4 rounds, I'm hoping to see 4 names where it's this dude's coming in and he's more than likely our starter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And also another person that I actually really want to get is this D tackle they're saying he's a first round pick, but I gotta say, look at the name again. His name is Derek Harmon out of Oregon. Harmon. Yeah, he's most likely looking like a first round pick, and I believe what's our second round pick.
We have the 7th, 42nd, 73rd, 110.
So from what it looks like, we most likely not might get him unless we go get a earlier pick in the second round.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the only way I see it. Because we talked about him last episode. The thing I've been seeing, because we obviously took a visit with him. I think was it last week or last week?
I think it was a few days ago. It wasn't too long ago. But
the thing I keep seeing how he's fluctuating from late first to early second. But I don't, like we said, I don't see him falling to that 43 unless we were to trade up. But that is one of those type of players where I think he's very explosive. He's very good with the stopping the run, which we need that bad right now on the D line. So that would be a pick I like. It's just like I said, it all comes down to. I really think it all comes down to what we do at 7. You know what I'm saying? Because the idea of if we don't like what we're seeing that's available at 7, we might trade down and then look for more starters in the second round. Or if we like what we see at 7, you take there and then so you have to build off that. You know what I'm saying? So. I think we've talked about it a couple times, but this has to be up there for one of the most crucial drafts of of us being Jet fans in a while. Just because of all the circumstances, what's been into it. You're coming off one of the most disappointing seasons I would say in Jets history. We finally had expectations to be one of the top teams, and it was the biggest mess ever. Media, all of it. Rodgers, just Woody Johnson, how many stories he was involved in. It was just all blown up in our face. So I'm really hoping they could turn it around, and it all starts with the draft.
Yeah, speaking about the draft, for everyone watching, I'm actually going to be at the draft. This I believe is April 24th, and I'll be watching. We're going to take at 7, so it could be Warren, Membu. I hope it's not some random person we never heard of.
It better not be some curveball where.
Yeah, hopefully, but I'm hoping that whoever we draft at 7 is going to help us a lot, and hopefully this is the year where we can finally break the playoff curse.
Yeah, we need it bad as fans. We've been through enough.
Yeah, and it all starts with the coaching. I mean, I can confidently say it myself. This coaching staff is by far one of our best ones.
It's one of the most. It's probably the most one of the ones I would say. Probably not yet, just because they haven't proven anything. But in terms of me being a fan in my 20-year life so far, this is probably the most excited I've been going into a season. Just because it is a lot of names, obviously, I've heard of. But there also are some, Engstrand, before this year, I haven't really heard of him. So it's the idea of it opens the room of, you got to go out there and show us. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Ben Johnson said you were a big part of his, his offensive coordinating like schemes and everything. Like you helped, the Lions offense take off. But now I want to see that translate to the Jets. You know what I'm saying? Because something I've experienced, like we said as Jet fans, a lot of this stuff where dudes are great at one team, they come to the Jets, and we sometimes don't see that transfer over. So my biggest thing is, get it done. Like put it on tape. So I'm really hoping this is the year we could break everything. But I mean, like we said, it all comes down to this draft. So I'm getting really hyped as we get closer and closer to it.
Yeah, one more week and we'll see who we take.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, this is gonna be a good season. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I can feel it. The draft's gonna be a great night.
Yeah, and I'm hoping Rodgers is on the Steelers. From what it looks like, Jackson Dart might go there. Honestly, Aaron, if we're not gonna sign with the Steelers, just retire. Like respectfully.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's either Steelers or he retires, or Steelers and he's like a gap year basically, where he's gonna wait. But I mean, I don't even know where he's gonna go with this. I mean, if he wants to play football, you have to go to the Steelers. Like that's the only team.
Exactly.
So it's either Steelers or retire.
And just honestly, if I was him, you've had a Hall of Fame career. You've proven to be a first ballot. I mean, honestly, you just keep playing, just messing up is going to affect you. So
yeah, exactly. That's
whatever works for you.
That's what I even said after last season. Like, I understand, as a Jet fan, it wasn't the year I wanted, but just looking at his career, like he's given enough to the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to go out there and show us anything else, like us fans. Like, you've given the game of football enough. Like, go retire and, become an announcer or something. Like, you obviously have one of the highest IQs that's ever touched the game. Like, you've given enough. You've shown enough. Like, you going out there and trying to play, especially after the Achilles tear, like you said, if it's not to the standard of what we're used to, all these fans are obviously just going to keep criticizing him. And then instead of remembering those 4 MVPs, you're going to remember when he went 5-12 to end his career on the Jets? Like, it's just the way, sports media is. It's unfortunate, but it is the way it's looked at. So I think he should, hang it up. I think he's done enough. But like I said, we'll probably see I would hope within the next 2 weeks if he's going to, go to the Steelers or retire.
Yeah. About that announcement, I don't know if he'll be an announcer. He even said it himself. Once he retires, no one's going to hear from him. I mean, that's a typical Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't even been on the Pat McAfee show.
He stopped doing that for now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that was one of the reasons we couldn't bring him back. So who knows if he retires? He would probably never see him ever again.
Yeah,
but that's pretty much all I gotta say.
The clouds.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Remember, this upcoming draft night, I'll be at MetLife. If you want an autograph, I mean, I'm not famous yet, but I'm gonna try to do a lot of interviews. Try to get some Jets, also Giants players too, because they're gonna be there too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping. I love the Giants too, but I'm praying I can get Jameis Winston an interview.
Oh, that would be so legendary.
I would do anything for Jameis Winston. Like his energy, just like who he is just like he's built for like the sports media, like analysts.
Yeah, exactly.
And also he's built for
sports media culture, so that would be so cool.
Yeah. This is New Era Jets. We'll see you next episode.